So let's start with how to use your LinkedIn profile to create a professional brand. So let's go to my profile. So first of all, it starts with your banner image. You have to have a banner image. It doesn't have to be branded to the corporation you work for. I don't have a Burriss consulting image up there. It could be, but I'm not a really big fan of seeing dozens or hundreds of employees that work for an organization have exactly the same banner. That is way too robotic, way too controlled. So it is your personal profile. So put an image on there that represents you, maybe represents you in the role, maybe represents you in the industry. Secondly, everyone needs a profile picture. Without a profile picture, you really are telling the viewer of your LinkedIn profile to move on. You're telling them that I am not approachable. If you want to be approached on LinkedIn by the right people, then have a good image there. It needs to be an image of you. By the way, there's also could be a video cover. If you want to do a video cover, you create video covers and upload them on your profile from your mobile device. Additionally, for branding, your name, nothing more in that field. Maybe doctor, maybe PhD, maybe MBA. But I've seen so many profiles that have, alphabet soup after their name, or they have all these cute little, icons and or statements or nicknames, and I'm not a fan of that. Put the name that people know you as in business, or put the name you want them to know you as in business in there, and really let your name be bold and proud by itself. More branding. Your headline. You get 220 characters in your headline. Use that to speak to your target audience, telling them who you are, what you do, how you serve them. You could, if you want to do creator mode, we'll talk about creator mode a little later on. You could, with creator mode, put the hashtags you talk about in here. Also, look down here at your featured section for branding. Make sure the content that you're featuring is content that you want your target audience to know about, you want them to see. And make sure the most important stuff are the first 3 that they see. There could be others if you want to, but you want to make sure all of these are relevant to who you are and what you do. And these first 3 need to be absolutely stellar featured pieces of content. We're going to talk about your activity in a little bit as well. Your about section. From a branding perspective, the first 3, maybe 4 lines are all the viewer will see until they click on see more. So make sure that these 3 or 4 lines speak clearly about who you are and what you do, focused on your target audience. No vetting statements, no I've been doing this for 30 years statement. Just tell the viewer what you do using words that resonate with them, i.e., keywords. You do not need to put your HR assigned title there. Actually, in most cases, your HR assigned title is not a branding statement. So think about what are the words, 100 characters you can put in there. What are the words that resonate with your target audience, telling them what you do for them? Business development representative, sales development representative, regional manager, Southeast regional manager. None of those that resonate with your target audience. So tell them what you do for them in there instead of using your HR assigned title. And this is interesting. Used to be you could see a little bit more of this box right here, which is called the description box, where you only see 3 lines. Excuse me, you only see 1 line now. And so I'm actually considering adjusting my 1 line so that it speaks more deliberately to my target audience. Because if I don't get their attention here, they're not going to click on see more and read the rest of it, which can be 2,000 characters. So get their attention here so they're willing to click on see more and read the rest. Additionally, you can put rich media on your experience section. So consider, is there a piece of rich media that really showcases what you do or provides value to your target audience? If so, attach it to your current position. Look at your prior positions. In prior positions, you do not want to send the target audience down a rabbit hole. I did not connect this to the company outsource IT. It's a defunct company. I did connect to the Bud Group because it's a well-known organization in the region I live, and I'm very proud of the work that I did for them. But in both of these examples, I wrote minimal. I really wrote very minimal information about what I did. And what I put in here is what I did that's relevant or shows professional growth to who I am today. I didn't talk about all the stuff I did for over 11 years in this company that's irrelevant to what I do today. I don't need to tell people that. Education, you don't need to put years. Higher ed only is what I recommend. You shouldn't put high school, middle school, elementary school, or preschool. Higher ed only. License and certificates. Put licenses and certificates that you've received over the years that are relevant and or shows professional growth to who you are and what you do today. Anything you have that is irrelevant. I studied hydrology. I studied reverse osmosis. I studied radioactive materials and cobalt-60. I don't have any of that in here. Why? It's no longer relevant to who I am and what I do. And again, no rabbit holes. Volunteering. Show your target audience that you care enough to help others. So that's the kind of volunteer work you want to put out there. I typically say, unless you're a part of some religious organization or a political organization for business, that I wouldn't put political or religious on my LinkedIn profile. But you do want to show your target audience that you care about helping others if, in fact, you are doing volunteer work. Your skills section. This is all about branding. Make sure the skill words on here are words that are relevant to who you are and what you do. Words that resonate with your target audience. Important skills. Now, if you're a virtual assistant, if you're an administrative assistant, if you're a data processor, if you're maybe a financial consultant that crunches numbers, then maybe put an Excel, Word, PowerPoint on your profile would be important. However, if those are not the areas of work that you focus on doing, you may use those tools, but they're not your most important tools, then I wouldn't put PowerPoint, Word, Excel, Google Docs on my LinkedIn profile skills section. But use all 50 of those skills, telling your target audience what you do. Recommendations. This is called social proof. This is where others say you are good at what you do. So be very purposeful about requesting recommendations relevant to what you do. Ask the recommender to speak about something that you did for them that is relevant to what you do today. Publications. If you're an author, if you're a podcaster, if you've been interviewed, you're in the newspaper or YouTube channel, there's blog posts out there that you've written or others have written about you that is relevant to what you do. Wow, this is a great place to put it. Put those publications in there so people can read, again, maybe social proof from others about who you are and what you do. Courses. Always put courses on there. Again, showing the target audience that you continue to grow. Hopefully the courses you're taking are relevant to what you do and relevant to what they would like for you to do. Look, if I took a course for photography, it's not going to be on my LinkedIn profile because it's not relevant to what I do. But by the way, I'm interested in taking a course on photography. Projects. Show the target audience, show the viewer that you are actively involved in doing projects, work with others. Now, this is all public work. This isn't necessarily private work. You got to be careful what you put under projects. But again, show projects where you've worked with others, where you've created value relevant to what you do today. Bilingual, trilingual, let people discover that. If you're a part of organizations that are relevant to what you do or have been a part of organizations that are relevant to what you do, then show that on your LinkedIn profile under organizations. Now, your interest section is not something you add here. LinkedIn adds that when you follow influencers, follow companies, join groups, or follow schools. But take a look at what shows up here. Maybe there's something here you don't want your target audience to see. Maybe it's distracting from who you are and what you do. Maybe it is, a diminishing statement and makes them think a little differently of you. So be very careful what your target audience discovers under your interest section. Now, this is a high-level introduction to building a LinkedIn profile. If you want to take that course, it's a whole other course out there. I just want you to think about your LinkedIn profile is the very first branding statement that your target audience discovers all about you. Now let's talk about the providing services box or tab that's on your LinkedIn profile. This is not for everyone. This is only for individuals who've chosen an industry that LinkedIn aligns with services. So there are some industries, and I haven't discovered which ones they are, but those help documents says some LinkedIn members in specific industries do not have access to this. But if you do have access to it, you'll see it'll be down here for you to add, or it'll be under more, or it'll be under add profile section. It'll be under here for you to add it. But when you go to add it, this is what you get the ability to do. First of all, you get the ability to have 10 different service words. So you got to look at the services that are available. I don't have the ability to create my own. I'd love to have LinkedIn Trainer in here. I'd love to have Sales Navigator Strategist, but those are not the services that LinkedIn has put in their database for you to add. Under consulting, the word LinkedIn is not in here anywhere. The word Sales Navigator. So you have to choose the best possible services from the selection for you to be able to add them to here. And you can have 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And if you don't like the one you have, delete it and add another one. This about section is a little mini about section. It's only 500 characters. But you want to use those 500 characters to be as clear as you can, telling your target audience what you do for them. You want to try to use keywords in here so that you can, again, so that it may rank a little bit better. And as I'm looking at this now, I'm realizing I don't have the word LinkedIn, the phrase LinkedIn training in here. So I may want to adjust this and put the word LinkedIn training because it's one of my important keywords. But again, tell your target audience what you do on this services page in this about section. What work location? I'm out of the Greensboro area, but I do work remotely. Choose the best thing for you. This is going to get pulled from your LinkedIn profile right here. You can turn on review visibility or turn it off so people can't see your reviews. Kind of think if you're going to create a services page, you really should have reviews and you really should make them visible to others as well. Client access, allow anyone on LinkedIn to send you an email and ask for help. This actually is defined by your open profile and email settings. So by default, that would be on because I have that turned on here. Visibility, who can see the services page, anyone. Again, this is because my profile is 100% visible as well. And then I could get rid of this altogether if I want and unpublish it and make it go away. And once I've got it saying what I want to say, I just hit save. And now this is what my page looks like. Here's the URL to my page. Anybody on LinkedIn can get to that URL. They can get to it from your LinkedIn profile, or you can send them that URL. But you can see here's my about section and my locations. Here's my services provided. I've started to add some rich media. You can have 8 pieces of rich media. And so this would be very useful as well. It could be little stories, could be little tips, little ideas that could help your target audience. Again, branding is all about letting them know what you can do. Maybe you can showcase what you do in a video or in a PDF or a slide deck. But make it all about giving them knowledge and ideas, not vetting your company. The last section on the services page is reviews. You can see the star ranking out of 8 reviews. Look, I like that how our rating's calculated. The breakdown looks like one person, somebody gave me a 4.9. And you can see, because I'm looking at it from my perspective, you can see I have 10 credits left. I can invite more people to review me. I can also go down through here and see the current reviews that are out there. But again, this is for the most part, except for the management stuff. This is what others will see when they look at your providing services page. So here's a part of your services page is request for services. If I go over here and go to LinkedIn, and I go look for public speaking, there's over here services. So these are the people who provide services relevant to public speaking. So I may go to, let's go to Tay Rao, and here's his services page. He tells me that these are the services he provides. This is the location he does it in. Doesn't give me much other information, but I could request a proposal for public speaking services from him. And that is how this shows up. This person here, Alicia, is requesting help with public speaking. And so, again, because of the generic nature of the services categories, I get pulled into public speaking a lot. It's not something I help a lot with, but it's a double-edged sword because I can't narrow the services down to exactly what I want. I've got to be willing to accept that every now and then this comes up, and more often than not, I hit no thanks. But that's the requests that come into your services page. Client projects. These are where I have submitted these. I've submitted help in these different areas, business consulting, public speaking, management consulting. I will tell you that I have gotten work from this, but not a whole lot. And so this is the ones I've submitted. These are the conversations that are going on, waiting for someone to resolve it, or maybe it's just basically dead at this point. But for me, my services page is less about getting these service requests. For me, it may be different for others. For me, it is clearly just another page on the internet under LinkedIn that tells my target audience the kind of work that I do. And the last tab under your providing services is your review status. This is where you can request reviews. I can invite people to review my work related to my services I provide. You can see I have a bunch of them out there that just went out not too long ago. I'm waiting for them to come back. If they don't come back in a reasonable amount of time, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to withdraw them. Hit withdrawal. And now you see I have 11 credits available. So again, if they don't come back and respond in a reasonable amount of time, then I'm gonna withdraw them, or I'm gonna send them a message, say, come on, Tracy, give me a review. So your services page, providing services page, is just another space on LinkedIn. Your personal profile, your company page, maybe if you own a group, maybe a showcase page, and then a services page. Just another space to tell your target audience who you are and what you do and how you create value for them. All right, let's talk about posting content on LinkedIn. This is one of the powerful ways of getting people to discover who you are, what you do, and how you are relevant to them. So it all starts right here, right there. Start a post. So there's lots of different types of posts that you can create. When I click on here, it's going to, first of all, let me decide, how do I want to post? Do I want to post as Teddy Burriss, or do I want to post as one of my companies? If I use one of my companies if I want to, or and the other thing I can do is decide who's going to see what I post. Do I want anyone on LinkedIn or off of LinkedIn? This is what I call 100% global. Do I want anyone on LinkedIn and my Twitter? And I generally don't do that, but I have my Twitter account connected to my LinkedIn profile. Do I only want my connections to see what I post? Now that for the most part I would say don't use, but there may be a reason to use it. You may decide that you want to only make a post for your connections, so you can say to all your connections that I love you all so much. I'm so grateful that you're a connection of mine, that I have something that I'm making available and providing just to my connections. Typically, I wouldn't do that, but there may be some kind of a campaign or activity that you want to do. Maybe it's worth testing to see, could you get a greater reach to your connections versus to anyone on LinkedIn. Actually, it just gives me a thought. I may want to go play with that. But typically, I'm going to go with anyone, more often than not than anything else. Now, there's also, I can go to groups. So from the LinkedIn homepage, I can now post, been able to do this for a few years now, post directly into one of my groups. So it's going to bring up my 49 or whatever. No, I think I got close to 100 groups. And I can choose which of these groups do I want to post it in. So you have the option when you do a post from the LinkedIn homepage to decide, post it as me or a company, post it for anyone, to connections only, or into a group. Now, let's talk about the post. This is really important. First of all, you want those very first few words, that sentence or two, that line of 2 or 3 lines. You want that statement to tell your target audience what are they about to read and what is the importance of it. What was the importance you discovered? You want to tell them that, hey, I'm about ready to share this for you, and it's going to be this beneficial, this useful. Now, you won't necessarily have to say it that bluntly, but they better get from those first 2 or 3 lines what you're talking about so that you create interest for them to read it. Furthermore, interest them to click on see more, because often when you post, they only see 3 lines. They have to click on see more to read the rest of it. You can look at almost any post. Here's 2 text posts right here. You can see that there are 5 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines that you can see here. This one's interesting. Wendy started a line down. So I have a blank line that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines. So that's all they're going to see. You better get their attention there, or they're not going to click on see more to read the rest, which, if you're going to have more than 5 lines, assumably you're going to want them to read more. Get their attention here. Now, what kind of content can I put in a post? Besides simply, I love the statement LinkedIn uses, what do you want to talk about? What am I talking about? So besides having the ability to put text, I can also put an image. Or up to 9 images actually. I can put a video. I can put a document. I can post that we're hiring. I can do what's referred to as a celebratory post. There's lots of different things you can celebrate. I can do a LinkedIn poll, which I think can have up to 4 questions and be out there for a week. And then I can add to the post. What else can I do? Here's photo, video, document, celebrate, hiring, find an expert. There's create a poll, offer to help, or create an event. These are all the different types of posts that you can create. And by the way, I'm not going to go into every one of them and show you how to do every one of them. You're going to want to go experiment with these. But once you choose what it is that you're posting, then you select the video, select the image, select the PDF or the Word document or the Excel spreadsheet or whatever it is you're sharing. Then you get the choice of who can comment on it. You can have anyone can comment, connections only, or no one. Now, I have not seen many people post and not allow comments. I kind of think in the context of social engagement, not allowing comments is kind of hypocritical. Now, is there a reason why you would only want your connections to engage? I don't know. Depends on the post. Typically, I say anyone should be able to comment on your post. So typically go with the default, which is anyone. Now, again, write what you're going to, tell them what you're going to share. Maybe tell them some information about what you read, what you discovered, what you got from it, and then share the content if you are in fact going to have content. So, but you want to think this way. You absolutely want to think, whatever I am posting, no matter what type of content it is, I need to make sure it's beneficial, useful, honest, relevant to your target audience. You've got to think, when I'm posting, I'm not posting for the sake of posting. I'm posting to create value and to build my brand. So what value do I want to create and what brand do I want to develop will determine what kind of content you post. Really must think that way. I'll give you another high-level philosophy about how I decide what to post. In front of me, I have 6 sticky notes on my desk. These sticky notes are absolutely, every single one of them I'm answering a question that someone has asked me. That is how I determine when I'm posting. I don't live by a content calendar. I don't create a list of posts that I want to do for the next 3 to 6 months. I do a social listening activity every day to discover what people are interested in. I look at the conversations on LinkedIn. I listen to what people comment on my YouTube channel. I use Quora and Reddit and Google Alerts to listen to what people are talking about in the context of LinkedIn, social networking, social prospecting, social selling, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that helps me determine, what am I writing about today? What am I sharing today? Now, often I will add something, will pop up and I'll add that. But I listen to what people are talking about. I put it on my sticky notes, and that's what I'm writing about next. That's the next video I create, the next blog post I create, the next document I create, the next meme, etc., etc. When you can get into that style of social listening, you're going to create content that is far more meaningful, far more useful to your target audience, and that will elevate your brand to a whole nother level. More so than living by a content calendar. So when you write a post, always remember to tell the viewer what they're about to read or what they're about to see or watch. And then give them the content you're going to give them. And again, maybe it's just a text post. Additionally, when you write a post, you also want to use hashtags. Let me go back and show you one of my posts. Go back to me, go back to posted activity. I'll go to my post. Now, I shared a video. Someone asked me about the different ways to announce a new job. So I create a video. And then you can see, I'm telling people I'm answering that question. And then under see more, look, I give them all the ideas. I give them 4 different ideas. And then I actually ask, is there something that I missed? I gave them my video, which happens to be a YouTube video. I put hashtags on it, no more than 6 hashtags. Typically 3 to 6 is what you want to use. All these hashtags should be relevant to this content. You got to think broad. Look, I got customer focus and branding and business in there, even though it's about a new job and job announcements. But I try to get their attention in these first few lines. I give them the content I'm giving them via text or image, meme, document, maybe including a hyperlink to a video or a hyperlink to some of the third-party content, and give them what I believe they're looking for. And that's okay. I got 200 impressions. That impressions only means it showed up in someone's newsfeed for 30 milliseconds or more. I got 3 likes, 2 comments, one of them is mine. I'm okay with that. I am not trying to go viral. I'm trying to create content and give content that consistently, throughout all the different pieces of content, keeps growing my brand. So I talked a little bit about images, videos, documents, hiring, kudos, sometimes called kudo posts and polls. Let's talk a little bit more about some other types of content that you can share on LinkedIn. First of all, you can share any link to third-party content. I can put in here www.cnn.com, and it's going to what's called resolve and bring up that website. If I had a more meaningful page that had a good image, I'll still do my website, Burriss Consulting, and look, it brings up a better image. And it shows that's the title of that URL, that's the URL, and how long it takes to read that page. And so from creating a post on a personal profile, you can put a URL. And never forget to tell your target audience what it is you're about ready to share. Why could this be important to them, or why is it important for them to read it? And maybe what value you got from it when you read it. But you never want to share something without telling the viewer why. That's sort of like walking up behind somebody at a networking event, handing them a flyer, and then running away. I don't know what the value of this is, so tell me up front. And if you do tell me up front, I may be more interested in looking at what you shared if you shared a link to something. But And by the way, don't use all uppercase. I did that just for the sake of this video. But anytime you share something, tell them what it's for. Now, you may add an opinion. It's okay to add an opinion if you want to add an opinion. And it's also okay to ask a question if you want to ask a question. But you want to lead with why is it important. You don't want to ask a bunch of questions, and you don't want your opinion to be inflammatory. You want your opinion to be meaningful, relevant, useful to your target audience. If you share an inflammatory opinion, then you're going to get the wrong engagement on this post. Be very careful about doing that. And it's okay to ask a question as well. Put the hyperlink there, and then again, always put hashtags. Always put, as I said before, 3 to 6 hashtags, never more than 6. And again, think about it. If you're the target audience and you see that post, does it resonate with you? Does it mean something? Do you think it's worth spending the time to read it, to watch the video, or whatever the content is? And the more you are thinking about your target audience when you are sharing content, the more aligned you will be with them, and the better you will build your brand. There's lots of types of content that I can put in here. Now, I don't have to just put a website. I can put a URL to a Google document if I wanted to. Let me go do that real quick. Let me go get a Google Doc. So I got a Google Doc. There's a Google Doc right there. Look what happens. It brings it up. This is and it brings it up as a hyperlink. Let me just share that real quick and see what it looks like. By the way, when I'm testing, I always do this. And so I can see that. Now, I can put my hashtags, tell them why I'm sharing it, and then I can hit post. Now, this is important. This next thing is really important, so listen to me here. Maybe you want to share that into another group that's relevant to. Maybe not. You don't have to. LinkedIn is trying to get us to use groups more. LinkedIn is trying to get us to use LinkedIn pages more. But you don't have to. Maybe it's relevant. Maybe not. So I'm going to hit no thanks right now. Now, this is really important. Whether or not the share in a group box pops up or not, you need to view and proof what you posted in this preview before you go anywhere else. Because the moment you go anywhere else, that'll disappear off the screen. So you need to look at that. You need to read it, read see more, look for typos, look for grammaticals, look for mistakes, make sure that's what you wanted to share. Maybe even click on that and go into it while you're here and make sure it is what you want. Because again, the moment you go anywhere else, it goes off of your screen. Now it's gone. The only way you're going to be able to see it again is to go to me, go to posts and activities, and then look here. You can look under all activities. It's not there. I go to post. Now it's there. Sometimes there's a timing issue where it does not show up under my activity for a few seconds, and I have to hit refresh to get it to show up. Because again, if I miss it in the preview on the home page, this is the only place I'm going to see it again. So again, you want to review it, edit it, make sure it's what you want. If it's not, hit the edit button and edit it. If you decide, oh my God, I didn't want that at all, hit the delete post and make it go away. You want to be very purposeful about proofing once you post it so you don't embarrass yourself or diminish your brand with the wrong content or some ridiculous typo or grammatical. So I'm going to delete it. I'm going to hit gone. And then I go back. So be very purposeful when you post to preview it. I've heard lots of horror stories where people did not pay attention to preview and wish that they had. Now always do hashtags. Look at the hashtags that come up when you're typing them in. You may decide that as you're typing that there's a better hashtag in the list than the one you're typing. But once you're done typing it, you hit the space bar and you can type another one. Again, a minimum of 3, no more than 6. And I hope that grammar. Now, I'm going to go down here to a document. And I'm going to choose the file. I've already downloaded the file. Right there it is, the PDF. Now, because it's a document, it wants a document title. And there's nothing else for me to do here. Often I say, don't go in so much of a rush in this. What's the I say? Adding a title helps your document get discovered more easily. I got that. And then I can hit done. And there's my document. You know it's a document because it's got 19 pages, and there's the arrow. I can scroll through it. And there's the box that can make it big so I can see it in larger. What happens if I do that here? Okay, it brings it up larger even in here. Did it keep me? Yes, it kept me in creating a new post. I want Teddy to post it. Anyone to comment. I got my hashtags. And this is good. I'm telling them what it is right here. I hope you get great insights from it. I'm going to hit post. Again, before I go anywhere else, I want to click see more and read this and make sure I don't have any grammaticals or typos. I want to make sure I'm speaking to my target audience in a very clear way. If not, hit the 3 dots and hit edit this. I can go in, I can fix it. Adjust it how I want to adjust it. Adjust the document title. Now I can't take the document off of the post. I cannot replace the document that's in this post. By the way, that same thing applies to videos and images. You can't delete or change a video or an image in a video or image, or in this case, a document post. If it's not the right document, not the right video, not the right image, then what you need to do is you need to get rid of it now and start all over again. Let me repeat. You cannot change an image, you cannot change a video, you cannot change a document after you have posted to LinkedIn. The only thing you can do is to get rid of it and then start all over again. I want to show you the tactics of actually adding an image or images to a LinkedIn post, because it really is a powerful way to present content. Is not just the single image, but carousel of images. So I click start a post. I always do my why am I doing this? I do a testing for this purposes. All right, so there's my statement about what I'm going to share. Now, I'm going to go get the images. Click on photo. Notice it says select images to share. Now I'm going to drop out for a minute and show you something. And I'm going to hit save as draft. Now, I backed out. Maybe I wasn't ready. Maybe I didn't have my images ready. Maybe I didn't have my video ready. So I backed out and I hit save as draft. Now when it says down here saved as draft. Now when I click and start a post, come back in at any time, start a post, there's my draft. Now, I haven't tested if this works if I log out of LinkedIn and come back in, but I never log out of LinkedIn anyway, so it doesn't make a difference to me. So now I'm going to get my images, and now here's my 9 images. So I'm going to select all these images. I'm holding the shift key and hitting the down arrow. Get all 9 images, and then hit open. Now, here's all 9 images. There's the first one, the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth. And interesting, it doesn't display here as well as I'd want to, but it'll fix better when I get done. I'm going to show you. The best image size, listen to these words, the best image size, I believe, is 1,000 by 1,000. But I can make this work. So here's something else that you want to consider. Every time you post an image and you have the ability to add alt text, you need to add the alt text on each image. Add alt text. Now my alt text is basically like this. That's basically the alt text I use on my images. I'll change these words right here based on the content. But I always put my name in the alt text and I put my title, which are keyword rich, in my alt text. Now watch this. I can do 300 characters, but I don't go that far. Maybe I should. I highlight, Control C, save, and then I go through each image and I repeat that on each image. Let me do that real quick. And we're back to the first one. So I put the same alt text on every image. Now, furthermore, I could also, if I want to, I can tag people. So I can click anywhere on an image and I can tag anybody's name. I can say this image includes Teddy Burriss. Go to the next image. I can say this image right here includes somebody else. I can click on and, Mr. N.C. Wiseman. And there he is, Mr. N. Like every image, I can tag numerous people on each image. I recommend if you're going to click anywhere on an image as you're adding an image or editing, I recommend that you only tag people who are directly relevant to that image. Maybe it's a picture of a bunch of your peers or industry leaders at an event. You can tag them on that picture. But again, I'm going to reiterate, make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. They must be relevant to that image. It must be appropriate for you to tag them. And then once you're done adding the alt text, tagging anybody you want to tag, you hit done and it'll go to the next step. Now, here's my purpose for sharing it. Here's my, maybe an insightful statement or why I want you to look at it. Hope you enjoy it. Oops, I need my hashtags. Maybe a hashtag relevant to the event. Again, 3 to 6 hashtags. There's my statement, continuation of my statement. Maybe I hope you enjoy it. Maybe a question or an opinion statement. There's my hashtags. There's my images that I can see all my images right here. And you can see it's always going to show 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 4 up to 9, whatever the numbers are. And then when I'm done, I feel good about it. I hit post. Sometimes it takes a few seconds for it to post 9 images with all that SEO, alt tag, etc., etc. Make a decision. Do I want to share it into a group? Yes or no. I'm going to hit no in this case. And then again, do not move. Stay right here. Look at this. Make sure it says what you want. Make sure the images look the way you want them to look. Like I told you earlier, that it'll look better. 1,000 by 1,000 is better. Look, I'm wasting all this space right here in my image. And if I would have had it be a square image, it would look better. But this is decent. I can work with this. There's my images. You can see that they're in order by the date they were created. And there you can see where I tag people. I tagged Teddy Burriss on that one. Looks good. This all looks good. Hit the X on this. Come back. If we're good, leave it. If we're not good, hit the 3 dots, edit, or delete. And once we click off of this and go somewhere else, it's gone. And now I have to go back to post an activity. It's under all activity. It's also under post because it is a post. And again, if I want to correct or delete, 3 dots, correct it or delete it. And remember, in edit, I can't change the images. I can look at them, I just can't change them. So if I want to change the images, I delete the post and start all over again. So there are lots of different ways you can share content on LinkedIn. Lots of different content types. Grab URLs from different places, YouTube videos, native videos, imagery, etc., etc., etc. I can't show it all to you. It would be really boring for you to watch me do that. But here's what I recommend you do. Stop this course right now. Go to your LinkedIn, log in, hit start a post, and start practicing. Always do what I do. This is, so you know that if I see a testing post, a hashtag testing, I'm playing, I'm experimenting. Use whatever word you want to use, and then go play with this. Try different techniques and, get a feel for it. And when you're done doing it and you're done experimenting with it, then just simply hit the 3 dots and delete it and go do something else. But if you don't practice, you're not really going to learn. I can share it with you, but the practice is where you learn. All right, let's talk about the next big piece related to building your brand on LinkedIn, and that's social engagement. This is all about engaging on content in LinkedIn. Now, engagement is really, really easy. It's the combination of the identity, like, comment, share, and send. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. But before we talk about that, let's talk about what content should you be engaging on. There's 2 primary ideas that come to mind here. Number 1, you should be engaging on content that is highly relevant and useful to your target audience, as well as relevant to who you are and what you do. First and foremost, relevant to your target audience. Secondly, relevant to who you are and what you do. Now, also, you should be engaging on content that is from your target audience, from their influencers, content that they created and or content that they shared. Now, there's two ways to find all that content. By the way, you don't need to be doing this all the time. You need to be doing it on a frequency that you can support, whatever that is. So maybe you spend a few minutes a day, 5 or 10 minutes a day, looking for content to engage on. Maybe you only do it every other day. Whatever you decide you can sustain, then do that as often as you can. Now, how do we find this content? Well, LinkedIn, if by default has this news feed, and you can scroll through this news feed looking for that content, and you may very well find it. You may also discover that it is full of other content that is not as important, not as relevant to your target audience. I don't spend a lot of time scrolling through my newsfeed. I find that it gives me less value than another tactic that I'm about ready to share with you. And here's the other tactic. Go to the search bar and do a search. I'm going to do project management. Project management. Hit enter. And then when the search comes up, I'm going to click on post. Now what I've just said to LinkedIn is go do a search for content post that is relevant to project management. Typically, that's going to mean that these two words right here are in somewhere in this editorial statement right here. Somewhere in here, she wrote project management. It's project management institution right there. And let's see if she has the word project management anywhere else. Doesn't look like she does, so it pulled this based on those two words there. But let's go look at the next piece of content. Now, Kenneth Lang's content doesn't have the phrase project management, but it does have the word management in here somewhere. I saw it just a few minutes ago. The word management's in here, and the word project is in here. So there's the word project, and somewhere else in here I saw the word management. Now, if I want to be very purposeful about only finding content that's about project management, put quotes around it. And now I'm looking at posts that had the phrase project management here. There's Maria's post. Here's a post from Neil. Let's go look at that. There's project manager, and there's project management as a hashtag. So that's why it picked that up. Go look at the next one. Judson did one. There's project management right there. So I'm looking for content that very clearly has the phrase project management somewhere in that content. Typically, it's going to be in this, what I call the editorial section. So again, right here, there's project management. So it's not necessarily going to be in the content. It's going to be in the editorial right here. Where's project management? This is interesting. I was hoping that this content from Kenneth had the phrase project management, and it doesn't, but it does have project manager. So maybe the application's using a little artificial intelligence and deciding that that right there is close enough to that right there. So, but bottom line is use the search, look for a keyword or a phrase, and then look for post, and then you'll find posts that are relevant to what you're saying you want to look for. And again, if you're looking for content that's highly relevant to your target audience and relevant to what you do for them, that is the kind of content you want to engage on. Now, I'll give you another example, and that is I don't have to look for project management. I could just say I want to look for content that's related to hashtag project management. Now, when I click on that, look what happens. It brings up the hashtag project management that has 4.7 million followers. So now I don't have the ability to search in here. I just said go to the hashtag keyword project management, and I can scroll through it. That's the only sorting I can do is change from top to recent. And that must be the recent 2 days ago. And I can scroll through this content that's very specifically going to be tagged with the hashtag. That's horrible tagging right there. With the hashtag project management right there, project management. So I can scroll through this content. By the way, if I really like that, I can follow it, and I can add it down here to my followed hashtags. And as I want to, another way to find content is just click on that right there. Let's use sales leadership. And it brings up the hashtag sales leadership, where again can sort by either top or recent. This was posted 14 minutes ago. I can look for content, again, in this context, related to sales leadership. All I'm trying to share with you here is a couple different ideas. How to find content. I can look for content by a keyword. I can look for content by a hashtag, go specifically to that hashtag and look at the newest content related to that hashtag. There's one other way to find content as well. It's all about finding content. I can go look at somebody that I trust and respect. Rich Schlentz is that one of those people. I know Rich is always producing and distributing really good content. Go to his activity tab, show all activity, go to post, and I can find posts that Rich has done, and I can decide, wow, Rich really does share good content that's relevant and useful to my target audience, maybe somewhat relevant to what I do and what I'm all about. And then again, I can now come in here and engage on his content. So you can scroll through the newsfeed, go look for content based on hashtags or keywords. Go look for content from individuals. I can also say, I want to go to, social link. Go look at company page content. I can go find a company content. Here's one social link. These are good people. And I can go look at their post. Now, unless they're a competitor of mine and do something very similar to what I do, I probably wouldn't engage on their content. Maybe, maybe not. But if their content, again, is relevant to my target audience, relevant to what I do, a benefit or use to my target audience, I don't care if it's an individual post or company post. I might look for ways to engage on this content. So stop this course right now and go practice with search. Look for people, look for keywords, look for hashtags, look for companies, and find content. And just get used to using the search bar instead of always using the news feed to find content to engage on. Okay, let's talk about the actual steps of engagement. Couple things to be aware of. First of all, if I'm looking at group content, this right here is from the group Linking Greensboro. If I'm looking at content that's in groups, you'll notice all I have is like and comment. I don't have the ability to share. I don't have the ability to send. I actually don't have the ability to change my identity and engage on this as a company. So let's move past group. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. Let's look at a piece of content that Sarah posted here. If you look at Sarah's content, this is something that she posted specifically. There's her hashtags, and she's a light bulb, lightning bolt versus light bulb, lightning versus lightning. She's a wordsmith person. Now, here's what I have. On a piece of content on LinkedIn, whether it's on a company post or it's on individual post. Here's Sarah's an individual. I can do the same thing on a company post. I have the ability to change my identity if I, in fact, have that ability. I can like it, comment, share it, or send it. Now let's talk about identity. If you manage a company page or company pages, you have the ability in the LinkedIn newsfeed, as well as, let's go find a piece of content about project management. Here's a post. Here's a piece of post that Maria shared. You see I have the ability to change my identity, like, comment, share, or send. So any content that is not in a group, I have the ability to change my identity. Let's go back to the home page. Let's use Sarah's post. So I can change my identity to any one of the company pages that I manage. Some of these are my clients, some of my own. So I can make a decision to engage on this piece of content as Burriss Consulting. So now you can say I'm commenting as Burriss Consulting Inc. Now, that may be worth doing if you want to get your company brand out there. If you want your company to be discovered more, then it'd be worthwhile to invest a little bit of time each week to go engage on content as your company page. I'm going to switch back to doing it as Teddy. Because regardless of what brand you're trying to get out there, your personal brand or your company brand, you got to be very purposeful about engaging. Now, let's talk about these buttons here. Like, comment, share, send. The like button. in the context of building your brand, I recommend that you minimize the use of the like button, because that really doesn't grow your brand. All that does is it puts you behind this little list right here, a 7, it'll make it 8. I just made it 8. Puts you behind that, and you don't, for the most part, you don't get seen. So it really doesn't help grow your brand. Now, it'll help Sarah. It'll help Sarah's content, because the more engagement Sarah gets on her content, the more the algorithms decide, wow, Sarah's got a lot of engagement on that. Let's share it again in more news feeds for more people to see. So again, that might be helpful to Sarah, but it's not helpful to me. And so I say minimize it. I didn't say not do it. You may every now and then want to do that, again, predominantly to help people that you want to help get their content seen by more. If you really want to use social engagement to build your brand, the comment button is the most important thing you can use. You want to comment in a very meaningful way. Now again, earlier I said you want to invest the majority of your time commenting on content that's highly relevant and useful to your target audience and relevant to you. So that's the energy you want to invest. Commenting in very deliberate ways on the right content. Now let's talk about how to comment. I'll go show you some that kind of like aggravates me, but I get it. People do what they want to do. Let's find a piece of content I can give you a really good example. Here we go right here. Steven is happy to share he's starting a new job at Hybrid Cloud Solutions. Now he's got 9 comments. Let me show you what most people do. Most people, congrats, 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 congrats. That's what most people do. You see a little bit more commenting here, a little bit more here, a little bit more here. If you want to comment on Steven's content in a meaningful way, I recommend a minimum of 10 words. Minimum of 10 words. So if you're going to comment, I don't care what the content is. It could be this kudos post. It could be any other post you want to comment on. If you want to comment in a meaningful way, then you need a minimum of 10 words. And in order to have a minimum of 10 words, you have to invest a little bit of time reading, at least very deliberately scrolling through and reviewing some of what she said, so that you have enough information about this post right here for you to come down here and comment with a minimum of 10 words. Now that's going to take time. So if you're going to do that and you invest that amount of time, A, make sure it's the right content. B, make sure you read it enough so you have enough information about what she posted for you to be able to sensibly and relevantly comment. Really important to do, because you're investing a lot of time. You don't want to waste time. Now, this may not be the right post for me to do it. Her annual rant about common courtesy. You know, I love Betsy's stuff, but that's not the most important content for me to comment on. So I probably won't, unless I really wanted to invest time with her. I'm going to look for content. Again, why I told you to look for content. I want to look for content that's much more meaningful and relevant, worthy of me to invest time reviewing it, listening to it, and then coming down here and comment. So think about that, because you're investing time. You're not just commenting. Big difference there. Now, furthermore, let's talk about different ways to comment, besides, first of all, being a minimum of 10 words. Sid, preventing network jitter is easier said than done. Let's solve the problem of what causes jitter, how to measure the levels, take steps to reduce it. Call or text me to talk about it. Here's the link to something he wants me to look at. I'll click on that. It opens a new tab, and it's a Business Windstream article that was written September 9th, recently, about reducing network jitter. Now, this is highly relevant to me. I'm going to read through this pretty quickly. And then I'm going to say, okay, I got enough information. And then I'm going to close this down. I'm going to go down here to the post, and I'm going to comment. Now, how am I going to comment? First of all, I'm going to say, Thanks, Sid, for sharing this with me. Or how about us? Then I might hit enter twice to get a blank line. Now I know that Sid works for a company called Windstream. He works for a division of Windstream called Kinetic. Okay, I may tag the company. Go look in here and make sure. Windstream Enterprise, Business Kinetic. I may come down here and in the comment I'm writing, I love the content that at Windstream, there it is there, produces about networking. I have always wondered if there is a way to reduce network jitter. This has been helpful. That's a meaningful comment. I'm thanking Sid. I need to put a comment here. I'm using Grammarly to help me. Thanks, Sid, for sharing this with us. That's first of all acknowledging he gave it to me. Then I write something meaningful, and more importantly, I tagged the company. Again, tag is this, at Randy, W-O-O, and there's Randy Wooden. Tag Randy Wooden. And by the way, I can also backspace and just have Randy. I can tag somebody else. Let's tag Rebecca. This is Rebecca Burriss. Okay? Now I can also tag people I'm not connected with. Watch this. Let's do Reid Hoffman. Okay, there's Reid Hoffman. He's one of the founders or co-founders of LinkedIn. I just freaking tagged him, and I can backspace out Hoffman and just refer to Reid. So these are different ways. And again, I can show you another one at Burriss Consulting. Oop, I spelled it wrong. There's Burriss Consulting Inc., my company. Now, I can't backspace out and just call the company Burriss. Company names you can't back. So if I hit backspace, it gets rid of it all. So you can't get rid of pieces of a company name. Now, but point of interest here, I'm not tagging any of these. Why not? Because none of them are relevant to this post. The only person that was relevant to this post was Windstream, and you can see I've already tagged them up top. Windstream right there, I typed in at Windstream, and I've already mentioned them or tagged them right there. So I don't need to do it again. So a great way to comment is first, show gratitude. Secondly, share what you got from it or what you discovered about it or why you thought it was benefit or useful. And then maybe show gratitude again. But again, you could also tag or mention others in the comment as long as they are relevant to it and it's appropriate for you to do it. It's not appropriate for me to tag Reid Hoffman. He doesn't know me. He's second level to me, and furthermore, he's not relevant to this content. But I can tag people who are. I mean, sometimes I do this, CC at Rebecca, and I tag her, and I'm basically, because I'm doing CC, I'm telling, this is my style of telling her this is something that she should look at, if in fact she should look at it. But look for ways to, again, show gratitude, talk about what you discovered in some meaningful way, and where relevant and appropriate, you can tag companies, and Windstream, this is a Windstream article, tag companies and or humans. But again, relevant and meaningful and appropriate. One more thing that's worth sharing with you, hashtags are not really uberly important in a comment. First of all, they're not indexed. So just because you put a hashtag in a comment doesn't mean it's going to show up in that hashtag following report. It's not going to. The only reason I would use hashtags is if I really want to make sure people know I'm talking about network jitter. So if I really want that to stand out bold, I may use a hashtag. But for that, no other reason would I use a hashtag. And typically, I don't use hashtags in comments, typically. But this is the essence of a meaningful comment. Gratitude, what did I discover? Tag the right companies, tag the right people in my comment. And then once I read it out loud and make sure that I wrote it correctly, it's grammatically correct, there's no spelling errors, then I can hit the post. And there's my comment. Now, let's talk about one more thing here. Before you move from this screen, just as when you're posting content, you stop and you read it. And again, you verify it's what you want to say. And if it's not what you want to say, you hit the 3 dots and you either edit or delete before you move on. But the moment you read it and you say it's good to go, now you can move on to other activities. Otherwise, fix it or delete it. And in this case, I'm going to delete it. It's the essence of doing a comment. So let's say there are comments already on a post, and you're reading this post. It's about Stephen getting a new job. This is the Stephen getting a hybrid, cloud solutions technical marketing engineer at NetApp, and you see a comment that you want to reply to. You use exactly the same philosophy that I just shared with you. The only difference is that when I'm replying, I'm going to say, thanks, Gabrielle. Or I'm speaking to Gabrielle. I'm not speaking to Stephen. In a reply, I'm speaking to the person I'm replying to. But everything else follows suit. If Gabrielle said something of relevance, something meaningful, something that made me think in the context of this post, then my reply is going to be to Gabrielle, showing gratitude and then sharing what I got from his comment, which in this case is not going to be a lot. That's okay. This is only the example. So think about your replies. Speak directly to the person you're replying to, and then share with them what you got from their comment. And just like with post, minimize the use of the like button. It may be appropriate to use the like button now and then, but minimize it. If I really want to build my brand with Gabrielle, if I want him to look at me in my LinkedIn profile, then a comment with a minimum of 10 words is much more likely to get him to look at my LinkedIn profile and discover who I am and what I'm all about, rather than just simply hitting the like. Let me refresh and let's talk about the next big one. So here's a post from Susan Russell. It's 4 days old. Okay. By the way, I can switch this and get the most recent ones. Here's a post where Ryan Wagner commented on Sean Hendricks' post about something about new John Deere. So we talked about change in identity. We talked about like. We talked about comment. Let's talk about share. This is big. 3 pieces of worth understanding about share. First of all, in the context of your own content, here's my content. Go to post. Articles or documents. Doesn't make any difference. I don't want people sharing my content. Let me repeat this. I do not want people to share my content. I would prefer that they either hit the like button or they comment. Here's why. This is an original piece of content. It was put out there 2 days ago. I posted it 2 days ago. Original piece of content. If someone hits the share button, it creates a duplicate of that content, which would compete for newsfeed space with the original piece. Let me repeat this. If you share a piece of content, it creates a duplicate of that content that will compete for newsfeed space just like the original piece. Well, I don't want my content duplicated and competing for newsfeed space. So there's a better way of doing it. Instead of hitting the share button, you can encourage people to come and look at your content and either like it or comment. And I'm typically going to say this. I may invite somebody to come read or watch a piece of content I created. I'll say words like, do me a favor, take a look at what I shared, and let me know your thoughts in the comment. Now, not only does that get this piece of content more eyeballs on it, but it also gives me the ability to join in on the conversation with others, as I did with Wendy. Wendy commented, a very polite, friendly comment, and then I came back and I engaged with her. Now, could I have engaged more? Maybe, but that was pretty much all I needed to do for that. So instead of you asking people to share your content, ask them to review it, read it, watch it, listen to it, and share their thoughts in a comment. Because the more comments you get, the more engagement you can create on this piece of content, your piece of content, the more likely it's going to get seen by more and more of the right people. And something else that's really important about your own content is anytime people comment on your content, you need to always come back and engage with them. Rena's commented, I marked it as funny. David commented, sociopaths, I haven't commented on it. Maybe I need to, I should say something, but the most I can do with this content here is hit the like button or maybe hit the funny button. Kip commented, press release that may get some backlash on when it comments the business will not want to deal with. Maybe. Now I need to come back and comment on that. But for the sake of this course, the time, I'm not going to do it now. I need to come back and do it. By the way, you know one way to do it? Hit the 3 dots and I can save that. Put it in my list and then remind me to come back and engage on it. I'm going to repeat. Anytime anybody comments on your content, you need to come back and engage with them. Because the more engagement you create on your content, the more eyeballs you're going to get on your content. Let's talk about the next big part of the social engagement, the share button. You get 2 things that you can do in share. You can repost, no matter where you find the share button, company pages, newsfeed, or you do a search for it. You can repost or share with your thoughts. Now, what's the difference? Repost is immediate. Repost, done. View the post, I'm going to right click, open in a new tab. And there's the piece of content that I reposted that my friend John wrote. Okay? So that's all it did. It just simply puts it out there for my network to potentially see, the people who follow me, the people who are connected with me, for them to potentially see in their newsfeed. Here's the problem I have with repost. I didn't get to say my 2 cents. I didn't get to offer my philosophy. I didn't get to offer my perspective of that piece of content. And that is the primary reason that I'm not really thrilled about reposting content. Because I did not get the opportunity to offer my 2 cents. Now, let's get rid of that. Click on the 3 dots. I'm going to delete it. Delete. Let's go back to that piece of content. Instead of clicking share and repost, what I recommend you do is share with your thoughts. Because now, not only do I get to be an opportunity to share this piece of content for my network to potentially see, but I also get the opportunity to add my perspectives, my philosophies, my idea about this content. So I'm going to review this piece of content pretty quickly. I'm going to review what John said, maybe where he got the piece of content from. And I'm going to offer my perspective. Give me a second to write that. So there's my editorial, or what I refer to as my entry, or the reason why I'm sharing this. And I wrote a little bit more than most people would write. But I first showed gratitude, and then I shared my opinion, my thought, my perspective on what he wrote there. And I agree with him. So that's my perspective is in agreement with John. And so this, I think, is a really good way. Show gratitude and show your opinion, your thoughts, your perspective on what you're about ready to share off of that you discovered on LinkedIn, either through your newsfeed or by searching for content to share. Now, by the way, because I'm sharing a post, I also get the ability to do my hashtags, branding, marketing, social engagement. Those are 3 that I feel really comfortable or appropriate for this share that I'm doing. And then I can hit the post button. Now watch what happens when I hit the post button. Let me clear this out down here. Watch what happens when I do that. Now, just as when I was sharing original content, LinkedIn is trying to encourage me to go participate in this group, and it wants me to share this in the group. I could if I want to, but for the sake of this conversation, I'm going to hit no thank you. Now, Look what happened. It went away. It doesn't show up for preview. I don't get the ability to see what others are going to see. So now I'm forced to go back and find that piece of content. Go to me, go to posts and activities, go to all activities, and there it is. Now is it under post? No, oh, let me hit refresh. I think it should be under post. It is under post. So now I've got to stop and go look at it and make sure. Now I have to go find it, unfortunately, and make sure that it says what I want it to say. Did I say it right? Is it grammatically correct? Is there any spellings or typos I need to fix? Is it really what I want to do? And if there's a reason why I need to adjust, change, or delete, hit the three dots. I can edit and change my words, or I can delete it altogether. But you've got to do that every single time. Go back to the home page. Every single time you decide to hit that share button and you decide to share your thoughts. You've got to go get that piece of content, likely from your posts and activities, and you got to review it. And if it's not right, edit or delete it. So you do not do it inappropriately. Share is a powerful thing, but don't share with typos or grammatical. That can diminish your brand. All right, here's a piece of content that Carl shared directly. He created this himself, and you can see that because it doesn't have Carl liked it or comment or whatever. It's Carl Richards shared this piece of content. This is what he wrote, these 3 paragraphs here, and he's sharing this article that from the societyofadvice.com. Interesting, maybe something I should read, but right now I'm going to talk with you about using the send button. If I think this is of use to somebody that I know, then what I can do, instead of sharing it and hoping he runs into it, or sharing it and maybe hitting the CC and tagging him in the share, I can send it to him directly. I can send it to him, and let's say I want to send it to Randy. So I'm going to send it to Randy. Just type Randy's name, Randy Wooden. And let's say, you know what, I think that's also relevant for Rebecca. So I type in Rebecca, space Burr, and I can send it to Rebecca Burriss. So I can send it to one or more people. I think you can have 25 names in a message. And then when I watch what happens when I click here and write the message, I can click write message, and up here I can say, I can give it a name, the guide. Give it a name of the discussion. And then, just as when I'm commenting or sharing with my thoughts, when you send this to someone directly in a LinkedIn message, what you need to do is tell them why you are sharing it. What's the benefit of it? What did you learn from it? How do I think that Randy and Rebecca can get value from this? You've always got to tell the viewer, however you're sending it to them, why you are sending it to them. So I'd write something very meaningful about what I discovered when I read this article and I read what Carl said. 1 or 2 sentences. I thought you may find this useful about this. Otherwise, you're not giving them context for why you're sending this to them, and they may not find enough value just in what they see right here to consider reading it. And they just simply may ignore it. And then if they do ignore it, they may feel that you are just, sending them something for no legitimate reason. Give them a reason for sending it to them. One last thing about social engagement. I've showed this to you already in the context of some stuff I'm doing. I have the ability to save it. And when I save it, it goes into my list. If I go back up top here and I go right there's my items, then I can go down here and go save posts. And these are the posts that I've saved. So think about that. You may very well want to engage on something. You're just not ready to do it. So what you might want to do is just save it. And you can see I cannot engage from the saved list, but I can click on this and bring it up. And then I have the ability to engage on it as I do earlier. And once I've engaged on it, I hit the 3 dots and I can unsave it. Now if I go back to my saved items, you can see I have to hit refresh for it to go away. And you see that article went away and I'm down to these. So again, save content that you don't have time to engage on, but you want to engage on it. Just remember, Teddy, to come back and engage on that content. Otherwise, a bunch of stuff stacks up and it's not worth leaving. And one more thing to share with you. If I really like this article that Sano wrote, that Virginia shared, I can click the three dots and I can copy the link to this post. And when I copy the link to this post, I can email that to people. Because if I copy the link, let me go show you incognito. This is as if someone who's not logged in LinkedIn can look at it and they can see that post and they can see the engagement on that post. And then they can decide if they like it, it gets value for them, they can use it, et cetera, et cetera. And if they want to engage on it, they're going to have to sign in because they're not going to be able to engage on it until they do sign in. But at the very least, I can copy the URL and send it to people via email for them to consume it without even being logged in to LinkedIn. There is lots of ways for you to engage on content on LinkedIn. In your newsfeed, search for content that's in that others have shared. You can get it from their activity page. You can even go to a company page. It'll show you that in a little bit as well. The most important thing to do is to think this. Always be looking for content that's highly relevant to my target audience, relevant to what I do, and engage on that. Like doesn't help you, comment does. Sharing is very useful, but sharing with a repost is not as important as sharing with your thoughts. And when you send content you find that you think is useful to people, again, just as when I'm sharing it, either from here or my original content, always tell the viewer why you are sharing it. Again, what I recommend you do right now is stop this course and go practice engaging on content so you get comfortable doing it, so that you get better doing it, so you'll do it more frequently.